Hi, let's take a look at the VSX headphones. These are the Immersion Ones, the new planner, and these are the previous version. Both are really good, but how do they compare to other headphones? This is the evolution of my headphones for the past 10 years. It starts with the Bose QC35. I know these headphones are not ideal for mixing, but its noise cancellation was way ahead of the competition at the time, and it was ideal for my 9-to-5 job. By the way, I just got laid off, but that's for another video. Then I moved to open back headphones. These have been my favorite headphones. I was wearing them all day long when I was working from home all the time. They are a bit harsh on the high frequencies, but I got used to the sound. My mixes got better. So I've been using them for a long time. And then a year ago, I decided to level up and go with the Beyerdynamics DT1990 PRO. And now here's the funny part. I think my mixing skills actually went down with this. I guess the point here is that knowing your gear in and out is way better than any expensive gear that you still don't have. And that's when I found the Slate Audio VSX headphones. By the way, this video is not sponsored. I have no affiliation with Slate, and I bought these headphones with my money. On the left, we have the original VSX Closed Back headphones. On the right, we have the new Immersion One, more expensive, more premium, open back with planar magnetic drivers. These headphones are designed to fix a fundamental flaw in mixing with headphones. What is crosstalk? So when you're listening to speakers, like in this room, you will hear both speakers at the same time with both ears. That means that with your right ear, you're still going to listen to the left speaker and vice versa. So everything is mixed into one phantom image. That could lead to issues when you listen to a song in one speaker, let's say a HomePod or a Google thing. And the reason is that there's a lot of frequencies that are interacting with each other when you listen to them both or when you listen in mono. Then the only solution would be to have a better room, which I cannot do that, or to have a good room with treatment. The problem is that this room is really small, so I cannot put a lot of treatment because I won't be able to walk into the room. That doesn't happen with headphones because each ear just gets one channel. VSX uses binaural modeling to replicate mixing in world-class studios, in cars, in clubs. So it's like you can mix in an expensive studio but in your headphones. So it recreates that image in the headphones. So on both of these headphones, the biggest selling point is that the software and the hardware are tied together. You even have to enter the serial number of the headphones so they are properly calibrated. So I had the closer backs for 2 months. They've been really useful for mixing. Before having these, I was always bouncing songs into my phone to listen to my car, so I can listening to different environments with HomePod, stuff like that. But with these closed back headphones, I feel like the process has already been sped up and I notice issues in the mix way sooner. And now we have these new headphones, the Immersion One. These are open back, they feel more natural, they feel less claustrophobic if you ask me. This is a premium product, it's more expensive than the closed back ones. I think you can tell already by the build quality, by how it looks. I think it looks fantastic. But what's important is how they sound. I think the clarity in the low end is amazing. I suppose it's all due to the planar magnetic drivers. I never heard anything like this before. The transients also are very sharp. But the craziest thing is the bass, like the low end. If you listen to music with lots of bass and a lot of low end, there's a lot of clarity there that I don't get with other headphones. To give you an example, when going through the different rooms that you have 24 rooms, I believe. One of the rooms is called Club, and it's really useful for low-end stuff, like to clear mud in that area. And that one jumps out the most with this new planner. The low end is so clear. So what I found is that with the closed backs, I found that room to be useful to tame crazy low-end spikes or kicktails, stuff like that. But I never really enjoyed the simulation itself. Like it was a utility room that helps you identify those problems in the low end in your mix. But with the new headphones, I feel like the club is real. You feel like you're there in the club. For the sake of comparison, it's like using a virtual reality headset. I think the closed back works. It simulates the world, it gets the job done, it simulates the room, but with the open back, it's like a widest field of view, like 4K resolution or something like that. You can stay in the room longer because the simulation is better. The bass, the drums, the feeling of being in a club feels more real. And I guess that's due to the planar drives. So to summarize, these work. They get the job done, you get the simulation, you can work with it to tame the mix. With this simulation is so good that you feel there in the club. One of my favorite rooms now is the Mike's Dean studio. I really like how the low end sounds, and I couldn't get the same feeling with these ones. So that's one of the things I feel like these were more like a utility that when I needed to use them, I would put the room. With these, I can listen to more references for longer because they feel more natural and more like you're actually there. The biggest difference between the two is the weight. The original closed back headphones, they're very light. The only issue for me is that I struggle with closed back headphones. Like if I have to wear them for a long period of times, I feel like a bit trapped in my own head. I work in a quiet environment, so I don't really need the isolation that these provide, which is quite a lot. Like I'm very impressed, like even putting them here and having to listen to my voice, like the isolation is good, basically. I mean, they don't have noise canceling, but the passive cancellation is there. Right now, I use them a lot to track vocals because there's no bleed into the mic, and that's because they really cover your ears and the sound stays in there. For comparison, if you ever use the DT1990 PRO, and these are 370 grams, they already feel heavy in my head. The Immersion One weighs even more at 430 grams. But the headband, so what I found is that the headband does a really good job at balancing it all. Like I feel it distributes the weight better. So far, I've been able to use them for long periods of times. The weight is there, but I feel like they did a good job with this band. One thing that is worth mentioning is that these are very, very open. They don't reject any room noise. You can hear everything clearly. Like if I put on now and I'm speaking, like I can feel a slight difference, but it's like very minor. The other thing is this bleed a lot. So if you have people around you, they're definitely going to notice and hear what you're listening to. And if you're going to use them to sing or something, they're going to bleed into the mic. So these are not meant for that. You should use closed back or other headphones for singing. I think these headphones are meant to be used with the software so that you can get better mixes. You have two different ways you can use the software. One is by using the system-wide virtual audio interface. It's basically like a VST that runs on your entire computer. So that is helpful when you want to listen to music on streaming services like Apple Music in high quality so that you can get used to the rooms. The other way is to use the VST plugin. So you put it in your DAW at the very end of the main channel. This is just a plugin so that it's meant to be bypassed when you are exporting your song. I believe the software does this automatically, but I just do it myself. Now, my only caveat with these systems is that it adds another layer of complexity on your workflow. For instance, while I was using it on system-wide, I forgot about it, and then I started watching a YouTube video. There was a person talking to an SM7B microphone. I'm very familiar to how it sounds, and I thought something was off with that video, and then it turns out that I had the software with the room activated, and I had to bypass that to feel like I was listening through headphones. So you either get used to feeling like it's always coming from speakers in front of you, or you're always having to go through disabling and enabling the plugin depending on what you are doing at the moment. I mean, it's not like the end of the world, but it's just another thing you have to think about. The software in itself, like it's very stable. I had no issues at all while using it. If you buy these, I really recommend checking out the manual. It has like an explanation of each room, very specific details that are really useful. Now, here's one caveat as well with the hardware itself, especially with the open back. When you activate the room simulations, the software drops the volume considerably. I believe this is to leave headroom for the processing. My interface and Arturia Audio Fuse Studio drives them perfectly fine, but when you activate those rooms with the plugin, I have to crank the volume knob close to the maximum sometimes, and it feels kind of wrong. I believe the low end suffers a little bit from it, but it's really difficult to tell. So I don't like listening to headphones at high volume. I think you should be careful and protect your ears. So to manage this, I bought a dedicated headphone amp. I run an optical cable from my interface to this dedicated headphone amp. It's the Topping DX52, and the sound is great. And I have a lot of headroom. This might be a little bit overkill, so I'll put the link in the description to this one and another one that is cheaper that gets the job done. I just prefer to have this one because it had the optical and other features that are not relevant to this video. So do you really need to spend this kind of money on the higher end? I think these are amazing. The low end is... I never heard something like this. I never used a subwoofer, so this seems like the closest thing to a subwoofer in a room and the big low end and defined low end. So it's amazing. I believe you can still go with the cheapest one. It's still not cheap, but I mean, it's cheaper than the other one. And I believe these are fantastic to getting your mixes right. And personally, I still believe in the craft of making music from zero, from the starting line to the final mix and mastered song. I really love, I enjoy the process. I think these headphones will help me a lot in achieve those goals. Having a good room with good acoustics and treating it and all of that, it's not a possibility for most of us. So this is a good alternative. Well, also an honorable mention to my AirPods. I use them all the time to listen to YouTube video and cook something. Shout out to those. So yeah, stay cool and see you on the next one. Bye.